And we are going. What is going on with everybody, man? It's your boy Eric, aka Young God, coming to you live in the Green Dungeon, giving it to you real, raw, rugged. And I got some on the other line, man. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, man. Who we got here today?
Yo, what's up, man? I go by Theravada. A lot of people know me as Zen. Yeah,
How you doing today, man?
I'm alright, man. I'm out here.
Excuse me, excuse
No,
me.
you good? Staying hydrated, staying active. Feeling good. So
For sure, man. For sure. You've been staying away from the COVID, man.
yeah, doing my best. So far, so good.
It's crazy, man. Where you reside at? Cause I know you say you out of town today, but down in Florida, that's where I'm at. It's pretty crazy. So I don't know if it's as crazy as Florida where you from, but
Wild over there. I mean, I was living out in Brooklyn for some, but I've been staying out in Long Island recently. Numbers in Long Island are definitely crazy. It's crazier than here. Like, I don't know if there's something with the how many people are actually getting tested to test accuracy ratio or whatever, but the Richmond numbers are like astronomically lower than where I'm at in Long Island. I'm in Nassau County, so
really, I went to Manhattan for something, and that was what, like October, and the way that y'all deal with like COVID up there in New York is so much different. The way that they deal with it in Florida, it's like it's almost like what did Trump say? Trump was like, if like no, Trump he was like, if you don't test anybody, you don't have it. That's what it feels like down here. It feels like
right,
nobody
yeah,
cares about it. Nobody has it. It's like out of mind, out of sight. I mean, when I went to New York, you couldn't find one person without a mask. But yeah, it's definitely crazy, man. But
it's
yeah.
all heck out there for sure. But Long Island, they're a little more like a little eased up out there. The population is a little different in Long Island, so
See, being a Southern person, I always conflate Long Island with New York. So like, what's the? Is it like a completely different city from New York? Like, what's the difference between New York and Long Island?
well, it's not part of New York City, but you have to get through New York City just to get to it. So that's what makes Long Island a very unique place. You know, it's just this it's just this island attached to the biggest, most important city in the world. But the further you get out in Long Island, or even when you go certain parts of state, it feels like you're in like deep Pennsylvania or even parts of the South.
Mm.
You know, and a lot of people will tell you that same thing. Like deep Suffolk County, gets a little hectic out there.
What makes it feel like Southern?
Well, it's just more open space. There's no curbs on the streets or whatever. People got bigger backyards. The geography a little different. It's a little more like rolling landscape. A little more, Nassau County and by Queens is mostly flat. I mean, some parts it's a little different, but for the most part, like the whole geography of that entire New York City metropolitan suburban area is just flat. You know,
That's like Jersey, like, and not saying it's flat, but Jersey has like more backyards and front yards and like land, right? That's what I hear about Jersey. Like people move when people get money, they go to Jersey to get land and see more vegetation.
right? Yeah, I mean, has its urban landscapes like anywhere else, but I think you get a little more bang for your buck out in Jersey for the amount of property and the
Yeah.
size of that. And I'm sure like taxes are lower. I think that's the biggest thing. Like the whole way that taxes work in Jersey is different. I don't really know much about that, but
Hey man, some shit you do know a lot about is making good music, man. I found out about you actually really recently. my my guy posted you, man. My man Navy Blue, man. My man Sage posted you, and
or
anything with a Sage cosign, at least give it a listen just to see what it sounds like. So I went to go listen to your album, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. I've been listening to it ever since the day he posted. I don't know when that was, like a month ago or something when he posted that, if I'm not mistaken.
a couple months ago, I dropped it February 26th, so almost 2 months at this point.
Okay, so I've been listening to it since the end of January then, and hey man, you are a very talented human being. And then I just recently found this out in preparation, just like, oh, let me learn some more about him. Is that you also produce stuff on this album? You produce as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Had no idea. I really, that's one thing I wish Apple Music would do. I wish Apple Music would tell you like the producers and the things of that sort, because that's not on there. I think that's like on Spotify. It's not on Apple Music, so
Right,
I
right,
have
yeah.
no idea that you produce any of this. So I further looked into it, and I was like, wow, he's producing, he's rapping, fire, man. So before we get into this, I just want to let you know that I appreciate your work a lot. You're a very, very talented human being, man.
No doubt. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And with listening to this, you have like a distinct sound. I think like I feel like the way that I don't know. I don't make music, so I wouldn't know how to convey this. But I guess like the way your voice sounds, like it's like I guess it's a filter maybe you put in your voice or whatever. But it sounds very distinct. Like it's something that I don't hear a lot of people use on their voice, and that's something that you do. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's like
Right,
you know what I'm saying. Like it's like is it a filter
right,
you put in your
right.
voice? Like what is that?
Yeah, I guess it's just the combination of how my voice sounds on the beats I make, and then how I just kind of mix it from there. I don't really have any special tricks when it comes to recording my vocals. You know, I have my own like mixing techniques, but I'm not really trying to achieve anything that anyone else that's trying to just objectively mix something isn't
Yeah.
getting. But I think it's, you know, more so the distinction of the beats I use and the distinction of the beats I make. It's how I make my voice make sense on those beats, because I also feel that I may not know how to mix someone else's vocals best for them in entirety, but I know for sure how vocals are supposed to sound on certain beats I make, because I know what range or frequency needs to be filling the space and how tight that needs to be sort of like, you know, immersed into the song, what parts of it need to be more clear than others and what have you. So, you know, I'm really just I make my beats with samplers for the most part, but when I'm recording, like I use GarageBand and I'm just EQing and using compression in GarageBand, layering my vocals, you know, and most of the times not really doing ad libs or double ups, you know. So it's really I'm really doing it like in the most simple way possible. So if it comes out as distinct as you claim, then you know I'm probably doing something right. So
Hey
that's what's
man,
up.
sometimes people overdo stuff and it sucks, man. You know what I'm saying? Some people, I mean, you have a lot of basketball imagery, which I will get into. I mean, we've all seen niggas they dribble their ass off and can't fucking make the layup. Some people just make a little one simple move, step back, hit the shot, and it's over. That's what you're doing. You don't gotta over your head, come throughout the shirt and do some crazy hot sauce shit. You don't gotta do all of that. You just,
Right, right.
you know what I'm saying? It's just a very simplistic type of format. And that's one thing that I realized because me being a basketball fan, I look through your albums, I listen to the albums, and I think the first thing that kind of popped out was the Dennis Rodman thing. I mean, the first album cover I seen was you butt ass naked with a basketball covering your private parts. You got the fourth quarter, second quarter, third quarter thing going on. I'm like, I don't know
Right.
what the fuck that means, but I respect it. You know what I'm saying? And listen to your albums. You have basketball references from Mike Bibby, and I go on your Instagram, and you got And1 apparel and things like that. And yeah, that's something that's very interesting to me. Basketball is very close to my heart, so I wanted to know like where did that like come from? Like, have you always played basketball growing up? Like, where did the love for basketball come from?
Yeah, I always love basketball. You know, when you're born in the early 90s, every kid gets into Space Jam, and Michael Jordan is a sensation. Basketball is a very accessible thing when you're a kid in the mid 90s. Everyone's wearing black and red 23 generic bootleg Michael Jordan t
Yeah,
shirts, you know. But my uncle was a basketball player, so he kind of reinforced that. I had a cousin who was mad tall. He kind of reinforced that. So it was like, you know, hoop dreams inspiring me just from the family members, and then like culturally like Space Jam is happening, and you know I'm having access. My uncle was a coach and stuff. I'm going to the churches that are in different neighborhoods than where I live and playing basketball and stuff. But I think when I saw the And1 tapes, well, even before the And1 tapes, I had seen the Harlem Globetrotters
mm,
with my parents when I was maybe like 7 or 8 years old, and that was really cool. And then I remember like seeing the Globetrotters at like 2 a.m. on ESPN, and I had gotten a soccer ball for Christmas, like one of those infusion soccer
yeah,
balls. My uncle, and I remember sitting in my room at like 2, 3 a.m. putting the ball on my shirt, like on my back, like and like trying to pull my shirt off while I keep like I'm like 8, 9, like I'm trying to. And then when I realized I could do that, that was like the first thing that I ever did that was like a basketball trick. But it's technically really a soccer thing that, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know who got into it. The Globetrotters originated a lot of things as far as basketball is concerned, but, you know, but it was after that, and then the And1 thing started happening, and I had caught that on ESPN, but I had also caught some stuff on Kazaa, just trying to find like Allen Iverson crossover highlights and stuff like that. Is what led me to the Nautic. I don't know if you ever heard of the Nautic.
Nah.
The Nautic is a crew of street basketball players. I shouldn't even call them a crew. A crew is not even an appropriate name. It was really just a group of friends from Vancouver, and they had an older homie who was in film school, and he was recording them playing basketball at the local rec centers and at the Hoop It Up tournaments. And that became an internet sensation off the strength of them just doing a video project for school. It was kind of like, similar to how the And1 tapes are, but a little more artistic, kind of more in the vein of how skate tapes are.
Okay.
Thing. And that became an internet sensation. There's the Nautic 1 and the Nautic 2. And then they made the Nautic 2, and it was a little more of a product. They sold a DVD, and they had merchandise and stuff like that off the website. This is like 2000, 2001, 2002. And these were the original dudes at 16, 17 years old. They were the original guys who had done the motion capture for NBA Street. It's a few And1 players that did the NBA Street motion capture on the first one and the second one, I believe. But I know for a fact that it was the majority, like 5 or 6 of those kids that were just causing like a little internet frenzy in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So the And1 tapes, and then, using stuff like Kazaa and just looking up, like crossover videos and Allen Iverson and Harlem Globetrotter stuff. And NBA Street, I remember in the first NBA Street, you could unlock it was called like NYC Legends or something like that, and had Lamar Odom and Stephon Marbury, but it had their nicknames. So they called them the Goods, which was Lamar Odom, and Stephon Marbury was Starbury, and then they had Skip Malou. I didn't know that Skip Malou was an actual NBA player because I had only seen like one clip of him that I found on Kazaa. Then after that, I'm starting to connect all the dots. I'm finding more clips. The And1 show was coming on TV, I think like 02 or 03. I'm like 10 or 11 at this point. But it was the music behind everything that also kept me captivated with it the most. And I was associating a lot of like my interest with basketball with my interest of music, So the two are always parallel to me. Like basketball and music are always going to feel like I still hear Rakim's song, Know the Ledge, and I still in my mind see like there's like a Penny Hardaway mix. I don't know if you know what Yinka Dare is. Yinka Dare, he was a basketball player. But there was someone who edited videos years ago of highlights, and they would call it Yinka Dare shit. All people that are real basketball heads will know what I'm talking about with the Yinka Dare mixes. But that's, Rakim, Know the Ledge was the song for the Penny Hardaway mix. And when I hear Know the Ledge, I just see it. I used to listen to the And1 mixtapes, just the songs, and I would see the entire tape playing in my head. I just had the audio burned to a disc, and then, I'm just really into the music in general. A lot of the music on there was like early Raucous Records stuff, DJ Set Free was doing that stuff. I'm pretty sure it was Loud and Raucous Records. A lot of Beat Miners produced stuff. A lot of Prince Paul produced stuff. A lot of MF Doom beats are on the Street Ball TV show, So, and this is stuff I don't realize at the time. I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah.
And years later, now I'm in my mid-20s. I'm making music. I'm going back revisiting stuff, and I'm realizing that the shit I wound up getting into as an adult, like fully more appreciative of, was all the shit that set me off when I was a 10, 11-year-old without realizing. Like I had known about like Madlib, I got into RJD2 and Def Jux at an early age, but that's what like carried me off into like the rap associated shit. I had just seen all the beats from all the And1 and Street Ball shit as like a given, like not even thinking it was like anybody. It was just random producers or something, But yeah.
So you like was watching, you was trying to gain a love for basketball, and you subconsciously started gaining a love for rap as well because of the beats and the way that it was presented. Because it's very hip hop centric. Even the way that the And1 balls, even the way they dressed, everything was very hip hop centric about And1.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, like rappers were rapping about And1. Like it was everything was just very, even the shirts very hip hop centric was the merchandise. I seen somebody post one of the shirts recently, if I'm not mistaken, and I was like, damn, I haven't seen one of the shirts in a very, very long time.
It's funny. I had posted an old picture of myself from like 3 or 4 years ago wearing an And1 shirt, and then literally within 5 hours, some like viral post of an And1 shirt was going around, and people had a link. It was actually a bootleg shirt from like a t-shirt generator for like $20. So it was a real And1 graphic, but did not have the And1 logo on it, and it wasn't like a real And1 shirt or whatever. But I don't know. that's a whole nother thing. But the And1, like it, it's just so crazy how I almost feel like certain people don't even remember it to that capacity. Like I bring up the TV show, and they like don't even remember the TV show. They just remember like vaguely a few things about it. Like I went to the And1 game at Madison Square Garden in 2003, and D Block performed Mighty D Block at halftime. That was like the summer it came out. Cassidy came out, started rapping a cappella, and everyone started booing him. Shout out to Cassidy. Cassidy's a legend, but it's like I've seen these things happen in
That's crazy.
real time. Like I couldn't believe it. Like I was like 8th or 9th row behind the hoop. I remember like J Hood walked past me. I was
What
like,
year was
Jay
this?
Hood. This is '03.
Oh, three.
Yeah, I was young, 11, maybe not like just about to turn 12, like summer '03. Professor hit the buzzer beater, whole Madison Square Garden going crazy, like shit was wild.
No, I remember the TV show. I remember fucking Professor. Like it was a big deal about him because he was like one of the newcomers or whatnot. And yeah, that was good times, man. That was good times, man. That was fucking good times, man.
Yeah, I remember, and one created so much pushback. Like, obviously around that same time, the NBA started reinforcing the dress code, and Allen Iverson had a lot to do with that, which is why Allen Iverson to me is like one of the most important people to ever play the game of basketball. But with the Iverson dynamic and the And1 dynamic, and then the dress code becoming a thing, and the NBA sort of like sterilizing itself, like mid to late 90s, early 2000s basketball, it was very jazzy and, like you said, like urban centric, hip hop centric. Like it was very in tune with the pulse of the streets and urban culture. They actually tried to represent their cities, and now it's very like it just seems like everything now looks like a bunch of PR agents sat in a room and came up with something. And whether or not that's what they've been doing since then, whatever ideas they had back then were obviously more in tune with the pulse of the players and what have you. Obviously all the marketing with the sneakers at the time too, the advertising, the Gatorade, Nike, whatever the hell, bubblegum things,
Yeah.
like crazy.
I mean, like even the commercials were a little bit more, I guess, like hip. You got the classic Jadakiss commercial. You know what I'm saying? Like there's,
Yeah.
it's like it's. I mean, I've never looked at it that way, but it does feel very much more like a PR-y, very like industry
Oh
at this
yeah.
point. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, but that happens with everything. Like nothing too cool can last for that long. Like it'll be
Of
cool for
course.
a minute, and then it's going to get invaded and infiltrated, and it's like, oh man, it's over now. So
Right.
that's the thing. Are you first of all, I was not expecting you to be a goddamn NBA fucking encyclopedia. That kind of threw me off right there. That was pretty interesting to see your mind just like start going right there. That was cool. You still hoop to this day?
Not as much, but these past couple weeks I've been hooping. We played ball out here the other day. I was with Monday Night Kahuna. I don't know if you're familiar, but
Yeah, I seen the crazy fucking alley that you threw to him with the between the legs.
That's really an old trick. That's something I figured out I could do when I was like 13, and used to do that and like throw the layup alley oop when you're younger, or like I would try to score like a layup that like just fucking around. But I remember I just looked at Monday. I was like, yo, if I throw the shit between my legs, just do a behind the back pass like that, you can catch it and dunk it. And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, we did it first try. And it didn't record. Did it a second try. Second try was crazier. Didn't record. And then we did like a few more tries, but then we got it. But that was ill because it was like I had never thrown him an alley oop before. Like that was the first time we played ball together for real. So, but yeah, still got some tricks up my sleeve. Some things still work. Other things don't. My mind moves a little faster than my body does right now. So,
Man, I usually every rapper, everybody I interview that loves basketball. This might be the first time I don't do this, but I'm usually very confident that I can wash anybody I can interview. Like I'm very confident in my basketball skills. But listening to you being a damn NBA fucking like inside expert, like I don't know if I want to play you, man. Like you seem to know a little too much, man. You might pull out a damn Larry Bird move where you point the ground, and I don't know, man. I gotta set that up though. I would like to play you 1-on-1. I feel like that'd be a very fun game.
we gotta set it up.
What's your game? Like, are you a slasher? Are you a shooter? Like, how would you explain like your game?
I'm a playmaker. I'm definitely a point guard at heart.
Okay.
I'm not too tall. I'm like 6 foot 6'1" if I'm stretching a lot that week. But I'm just passing. I remember like you're younger and you're kind of taller than everyone. And when you at tryouts, they're like, "Oh, okay, big men over here, guards over here." And I'd always go to the guards. They'd be like, "No, you're a big man." I'd be like, "No, I'm a guard." And then once the dribbling drills started happening, it was clear that I had the best ball handling skills on the team. But I don't even like when I play. I don't like breaking down my opponent.
Hmm.
I'm either gonna be the playmaker type or I'm a catch and shoot, like come off the screen, mid range. I
Like a
like shoot.
Jason Kidd.
I wouldn't even say a Jason Kidd. I'd say more like a Jason Williams.
Hmm.
But if Jason Williams enjoyed running off of screens like Richard Hamilton off the ball.
Okay. Okay. So okay. God damn. So you're never. I always when I used to watch Richard Hamilton, I was like, yo, does he not like stay still? Like he never stays still. Like he would just run and run and run.
Love Richard Hamilton, bro. Because that shit, like watching Richard Hamilton, like obviously I love players like Jason Williams. I love players like Tim Hardaway, Allen Iverson, early Carmelo Anthony. But Melo really like he made me want to work on my jab steps and stuff. But Richard Hamilton, like watching him just come off screens and just catch shoot like robotically. I love that idea of just having a deadly 15 to 17 foot jump shot, like. And that made it super effective. I'm glad I worked on my jump shot as much as I did because if I can't move like I used to, I know like if you give me like 5 space, I'm gonna be that old man at the park just splashing.
Do you find yourself enjoying more retro basketball than today's? Because you talk about the mid range shot, which is almost a dead thing in the NBA. Like
Yeah,
that is not a thing.
Feel really old. Not that old. Like I'm not even 30 yet, and it's like. You're telling me the mid-range jumper is extinct. It's like, bro, listen, man, like, when I'm young, they're telling me, like, oh, that's cool, but you got to stop all that hot sauce Rucker Park stuff or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I start working on my pull-up. I'm starting to, hold the ball above my head and jump and elevate.
Yeah.
I'm doing drills by myself and, all that stuff. I really worked on my game. And now I see, like, kids that are doing, like, slip and slides and mad one-handed dribbles and step back crazy and then coming back and reverse layup, and it's like a kid in the gym going viral for that. And I'm like, what the hell? When I was 13, they like cut me from the team because I could dribble. It's like you could have at least made me like do a routine at halftime or something, or put me in the homecoming parade and let me spin the ball on my finger or something. Or something. Like it made me like it was almost like coaches made me feel like oh, you're actually not gifted, you're not talented, like what you're doing is a waste. And then it's kids with no left hand that are starting over me, so it's like but then worked on my game. I got nice, I proved myself. I wound up not even really playing for my school like that. I just played like travel teams for real. I didn't get along with like my coaches or like the people on my team at the school and shit, so it was like I wanted to enjoy the game. It less became about because I knew like, oh, okay, basketball at best. I'm gonna go to school and I'll play ball at a D2 or D3 school, and then I'm gonna get a degree in education and go be an English tutor in Greece and play pro ball and like maybe get a DJing gig or something. And that was like if I play basketball, that's the life I had set up for my, But then like I went to Greece in 2011. That was the first and only time I ever went. It was cool. I got to see the country. Like I was in a different part of the country every single day. I was in northern Greece a lot. I got to see like when my father grew up. My father was like big time soccer player as a high schooler in Greece. So that was cool to see. Just like where he grew up playing soccer, where he grew up, it was like out on the farm. There's like nothing out there type shit. Like small little farm village population. Like I don't even know, like less than 1,000. I would, you know what I mean, like type shit. But I was out there with like I might play for like a 7th, 8th seed team out there and see what's going on. But the money I would have made that year is still just like you're way better off being a substitute teacher in the United States and just going and playing for a men's league at that point.
Wait, you professionally in Greece?
Well, that was what I wanted to do. I never actually did it.
Okay.
But like I went out there, played with some people, I went to some parks and some gyms, but it was nothing like elaborate. I wasn't about to like try out for like a top 3, top 4 team. Like I wanted to, but like I'd rather just be like, well, let me invest my energy in playing with like a lower seed team, because that's really what it is. If you play any D2, D3 college ball, and you know a coach or someone who knows a coach, and you get in the gym with a team, There's no reason you can't play. Like there's not. It's just about what country actually has the money for this shit. And Greece has just been so fucked up. And I never really cared to do it like beyond going to Greece because if I went to Greece, I was like, cool, I can go there and like teach kids. You know what I mean? And like tell them about like living in New York and stuff like that. Like I don't know, be like a role model for kids in Greece kind of thing.
Now you said something. You said that your father grew up there. What did you say? You had a bar that I wrote down. What did you say? You said you said my parents from Jamaica, but they're not Jamaican or something like that, right? I was very curious about that because I was like, I don't know what that means, but I feel it.
Yeah, Jamaica, cool.
Oh, I'm such an
Yeah.
idiot. That's funny. I am an idiot. That's
Well,
funny.
there you go. That means it was sharp. It went right through you, and he was like, "What does that even mean?" So that's cool.
I'm like, he don't sound Jamaican at all. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like where my whole family from Greece wound up, and
Mm.
that's like where all my cousins and myself, like that's where our roots are at. That's where we all grew up playing basketball at the church over there. That's how I have a relationship with Rob Chambers, who's my cousin, technically my second cousin, but when you're Greek, everyone's your cousin. And we grew up playing basketball together, and he's someone who makes a lot of beats. We've played most of our shows together. When you grow up playing basketball with someone and you guys are also like at family gatherings together and your family and your parents all know each other and then you're making music together, like, it's, you can only assume what kind of synergy you have with a person like that.
Something just fucking hit me right now, bro. This is crazy. Hold on. You do you watch battle rap at all?
Yeah.
Battle rap. Have you been on stage with Mike P before?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm just looking at you. I'm like, why do I feel like I've seen
Oh,
you somewhere
it just
before?
clicked?
Cause I went on your Twitter page and I seen you sent him something. Just disregarded it. But I'm looking at you. I'm like, I remember a white man with a beard on stage with him. I think it was Twerk, right? It was when he was battling Twerk. You were with him.
Yeah, yeah.
That just fucked me up. That's crazy. That's where I know you from. Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, IP, we're like, that's a childhood friend of mine. He's someone I like looked up to when I was younger. It was him and my other homie Marlo. They're like my big brothers, and they were rapping. They're the reason that I even really like do music.
Mm.
My cousin Rob Chambers got into production, and that's one whole side of things. But me being around Mike P and Marlo around my high school years, and then getting close with them when they started shows, and I was their DJ for a little bit, and I was helping them with promotion. So like that's the shit that really made everything seem feasible because Mike and Marlo, their shit used to ring off on like MySpace and shit back in like 07, and that was never really like a fathomable thing. Like, someone is actually like it actually sounds good and people actually like it, and they were rapping on like they were jacking beats off YouTube, like ill B-side Jadakiss instrumentals and like random Kev Brown beats and shit like that. So that was the shit that made me like, oh shit, these like some older dudes and I didn't even go to high school with them. They were going to high school in the town over type shit, but we lived all right next to each other. For him to be on URL in general is just such a crazy thing, like I can't even say I take it for granted because when your friend is that skilled that it could reach a certain point. But, every so often you think about it happening. Like, I'm just watching him on a stream casually, and then I'm like, this is even crazy that I'm even watching
him? Yeah.
Crazy that you told me you see me on stage. Like, people hit me up, and they're like, yo, I was watching a battle rap compilation, and I saw you. And I'm like, yeah, that was me. I'm just there, It might not even been Mike rapping. I just be like, I'm only at battles where Mike is rapping for the most part. I don't really just be going to battles, but tickets are expensive. Oof.
For real? I mean, they never come to Jackson. I'm in Jacksonville, so I ain't never been on. It'd be expensive.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes tickets are as much as like $100. Sometimes the event that was out in Richmond, there was a URL battle where Mike battled Sirius Jones, which is crazy enough that it was in Richmond.
Yeah.
Sirius Jones, and I've been coming to Richmond doing shows since like 2015. You know what I mean? And I used to always think like, damn, it'd be sick if like Mike had a battle in Richmond. The next thing like URL just doing battles in Richmond out of nowhere. I'm just like, all right, cool. Now, like, all my homies from Long Island were just like being Richmond. Shit's fire.
Dog, that really is crazy. Like, I'm just sitting here looking at you talking about being Greek. I don't know why that made me think of battle rap, but I was like, he looked like that dude. That's crazy. That's wild. Have you ever thought about like pursuing or doing a battle or trying to battle rap at all? Has that ever
Yeah,
came across your mind?
yeah, definitely. I think what I would rather do instead of like ensuing like a battle career, I'd rather hop on one of these like little nerd leagues or local leagues
Yeah,
and do like a 2v2 like for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not on some like, oh yeah, I'm up next and you can't fuck with me. Like, nah, I just want to do 2v2s and just for the sake of like appreciating the craft of battle rapping so much, because it was for such a significant time where I felt like a lot of the rap music I was listening to, a lot of it was enjoyable to listen to, but not a lot of it was, captivating me lyrically or whatever,
yeah,
like with the words and the subject matter and a lot of the stuff that battle rap is doing for a significant amount of time. Like, obviously Daylight, especially, who's the given, like these are people that made me inspired to keep my pen moving, whether there was a beat in my head or a beat that I wanted to make, or just he's someone that like I listen to him rap and I'm like I need to go write a million bars because I'm nowhere near this good and I probably never will be, but I should at least write a million bars because goddamn, like what the hell, this is possible. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh, I don't.
it
No, I
what
would have cut you off, but I have to say this. You're the complete opposite of me. I was literally just talking about this to somebody. When I listen to somebody like Daylight, I don't. I can rap, but I don't like pursue a rap career. But I know how to put words together. When I hear Daylight, I'm like, oh, this is why I don't rap. Like, I will never be this good. I will never write anything this crazy. I will
right.
never like. So the fact that you get motivated by that. That shows you're just a different type of person. Because when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, why am I even attempting to do this? Like, I will never come close to putting words together like Daylight or a I don't know. I fuck with Kendrick heavy or are you just people of that ilk? I'm like I can't do this. Like that's fucking insane.
I think for me typically it's what Daylight does that allows me to say, like, because he breaks the concept entirely of how words are supposed to be used and how you can use a certain wordplay and how you can hide bars and put bars inside of other bars and not have these double entendre on my sleeve, really obvious, cheeky, associative type rapping. So it's like that. I think it's more what he does, because I definitely am the same way as what you just said. Sometimes I hear a lot of music that I like, or I might be on a kick where I feel like a lot of my peers are just making really dope music, and it makes me say, damn, all the rappers around me are going off. I'm hearing a lot of good rap music. I got to get on my production game.
Mm.
I want to contribute to that. I want to step my beats up. I want to sound like now, because I'm a producer, I want to try to step my beats up to sound just as good as the beats that's on, that has nothing to do with a rapper, that has everything to do with the producer working with another rapper, whatever, that makes me focus on beats for a while. And then, put a lot of energy on that. Sometimes a beat will inspire the rhyming, or sometimes I'm just on a rhyming kick and I just want to, rap a lot. I just got a lot of things on my mind. I got a lot of words that are clicking. I got flows that are coming to me, like whatever. I'm just hearing the right beats in the right time. You can't really call it, but being able to do a lot of things and setting off on projects, like videos, photography, and making beats and arranging albums and rapping myself and mixing and mastering for other people and stuff. It's hard to focus on like just, all right, what do I do next? What do I do first? But I think I'm getting better at that lately. But
Being a person that I consider myself like I understand rap like really well. I think and I know like when rappers are on a different level. And talking about rappers like taking off like a Daylight or whatever. There's a specific song by you that when I listen to it, I'm like, okay, I think he was in another zone right here because this is different. Like he can rap, but he's in a different level on this song. And what's the name of it? It's the called Another Dream Again. That song, I felt like you were tapped into a different type of like realm. I could be wrong, but just listening to how you were in and out of pockets and what you were saying and how you were saying it, it was like, okay, this was like he must have listened to a Daylight round. It was like, all right, I gotta top this somehow, and that's what that felt like. Maybe I'm wrong, but that was a special one right there for me.
I can't. I think I definitely remember this was 2020 when I recorded that. I recorded that about a year ago. It might have been last April or May when I recorded that song. But nah, I'm good. Thank you though. But pretty sure that was before Daylight versus Tay Rock, because Daylight versus Tay Rock, like I couldn't stop freestyling, imitate Daylight schemes against Tay Rock because they were just so.
That might be the best Daylight of all time. I don't think
Oh,
he's.
just when you thought it couldn't get better, it get like
And
just
it's crazy
like
because that Tay Rock might be anybody else on that card, but Daylight was just on a different level that battle,
yeah,
bro.
because it wasn't a bad Tay Rock though.
Not at
Like
all.
it was just wasn't enough. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was before. I don't know. I definitely go on kicks where I just like kind of like hang out and just listen to Daylight compilations or run certain Daylight battles back. But I don't think I was like. I think, and I had made that beat like months before I even touched it. But I don't know. I think it was just one of those things. I was putting bars together over a course of time, and when I finally recited it, I enjoyed it so much while structuring it and while refining it that it pushes me to kind of, you tap into that certain energy, and sometimes incidentally it happens to be because you wrote something really well, and other times it's just because you just had that mindset that matched what you were trying to put out or whatever. I don't know. I don't really remember specifically when I recorded that, but you know,
Yeah, that's one of the ones when I listen to it, I'm like, man, I feel like he was like trying to prove something on this one. Like we've all
that's
heard, we
that's what's up.
we've all heard songs of rappers who's just rapping a little bit more than they usually. And it's like, man, it was like the whole album you're rapping, but it was like that one. It was like I don't know. Somebody was like, hey, bro, you suck. He was like, oh, for real? You just wrote your ass off right there. That's what that felt
Right.
like, and it was
Yeah.
it was great, man. I love that song, man, and I love the fact that you can like switch it up. Like you don't just have like one gear because I think it can be very stagnant and kind of hold somebody back if their only gear is just rap, 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 go, go, go,
Right.
go, go. And like a
Right.
song like Rodella Roman, like that's a very like catchy song. Like the way you're
Right.
singing on that. It's almost like a damn near like an elevator type of beat or whatever. It's like a very like jingle, it gets stuck in your head, and then you like Sammy Sosa, the way you're singing on it is very, it's very addictive. Was that what you were going for with that?
Sometimes you make songs and they don't need to be a full-on rap song. That was probably one of those improv freestyle things. For a lot of the Zenith Rodman sessions, I started every session with just like 2, 3 freestyle tracks, whether it was just like some type of like little melody that I just had in my head that I was going with, or if I was actually just trying to rap freestyle, just trying to like find what my energy was for the day and then lock in on some things I may have already had written, lock in some other things that I still have to write to that I know I need to write to, see what energy is aligning for whatever. So those are things that happen, and that's really just like my creative process. If I'm sitting on a microphone and I hear something and I catch an idea and I'm saying it out loud, if I'm not going to do a voice memo, if there's a mic right next to me, I'm going to just put it on the mic. It doesn't need to be a final concept or a draft or a remix or record it again. Like sometimes you just let it sit. You let it sit, and if it makes sense, it sounds good, just go with it.
And I think that resonates with a lot of people because when I look at a lot of people that follow you, I'm curious of how did you get like because there's this underground scene right now that like with like your Navy Blues and people of like in that vicinity of rap. I feel like you are in that because like when I look at your followers, you have like the Navy Blues and the Maxos and shout out to Battle Rap. You got Ace Amin following you, or you got just these underground heavyweights or whatnot. Like, how did you become immersed in that world? Like, did it become because you met one of them and they told their other friends? Like, how did you become immersed in that world? Because you say you live in what Virginia now, right?
No, I'm just here.
Oh, you just here? You just there for right now? Okay, but yeah. So like, because I know a lot of the world they're out in New York. So is it like mutual friends? Like, how did you become cool with these? I guess like the underground heavyweights or whatnot.
It would be mostly because of doing shows around Brooklyn and Manhattan. I used to work at this shop called Deep Cover that a friend of mine was running, and I would help him with a lot of things there, and that kind of exposed me to meeting more people or whatever. But I'd say for the most part, as far as like the people you've named, like me knowing Ace Amin is really just me being in on the battle scene and being
Yeah,
around Mike. And Navy Blue, I met him through Mike, which isn't Mike P, but the other
the other
Mike,
one, yeah.
Mike from Slums. You know what I'm saying? And just being around them. Like I think 2016 we had been doing shows together, and 2015 I had done shows with Young Morpheus, and
Mm.
he and I had become very close friends, and is still a very close friend of mine. And I think through him, because I know he had put me on to Mike, and then we had all done a show together at some point, and and people making stuff together, and people are just linking up at shows together, and you just become familiar with people. You're just in certain circles. You're creating certain things that are attracting like-minded people. Certain people hear your beats, but with Navy Blue, it's funny because I had met him a bunch of times, and he didn't even know that I did music. He just thought I was like the dude from the store, or whatever, deep cover. And then I had run into him randomly. I was driving back from Richmond. I was going back to New York, and I got off at a pit stop in Maryland at a random like Shell gas station, and I saw him in the store, and I was like, "Yo, you're Navy Blue, right?" He was like, "Oh shit, yeah, you Mike's Blue, yeah, whatever." And that was just funny because the day before that, we were at the radio station, and the DJ was playing a Makami song with Concept Jackson. I was like, "Yo, who made this beat?" And he was like, "Navy Blue." And at that time, I think it was 2017. At that time, I'm like, "Wow, it's crazy. Everything is connected. This
Yeah.
is so cool." You know what I mean? Because I had already known Concept, and I found out about Mock through a song that Concept had done. And Concept was the homie, and then I'm saying, oh wow, Navy Blue made this track. That's like he's working with people from New York, but that's cool. Richmond's in the mix. This was like 4 years ago, before anything even looks how it does now. You know what I mean? Then the next day, to run into him in the middle of Maryland, like at a random gas station, and then just became cool with him off the strength of that. Shout out to Navy Blue, man. That's great individual, very talented, very pure hearted.
Super pure, man.
Yeah.
Super pure, man. Shout out to him. And like I said, I don't think people can like deny talent. And like I think you're really good at what you do. I love your you have a lot of one liners. I feel like it's your tapes are littered with them. Would you say they're shuffling their team like Trump administration? I like little stuff like that. Like that's hard. That's hard. That's hard.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're fire, man. And I know you're out there doing music or whatnot, so I don't want to keep you for too long. You know what I'm saying? I think that we have to do a part two on this because we fucking barely talked about music. We talked about NBA and all type of shit. So I have to get you back on here because I think it'd be interesting if we just broke down one of your albums just for an interview. Just like broke down each song,
Sure.
my favorite bars, your favorite bars. We gotta do that. Before we get out of here though, I went to your Twitter and a couple of your recent tweets. They made me chuckle. And I was like, you know what? I want to read them to him and get your reaction, man. You're a humorous guy, man. My favorite one, you say, Peep, you say, NFTs? More like no fucking thanks.
That was lame. I only posted that because it was funny. I thought of that to myself and just laughed, and I looked it up. I'm like, mad people already said this, and mad people already said it. So I was like, that kind of makes it even funnier that it's just that generic. So I just said it. Yeah,
I,
that's what's up.
I look at a lot of, I was on your live, I think, one time you were talking about NFTs. I don't get it. I don't know if you get it, but it's
I get it, but is this an NFT right now? Are we making an NFT? Like,
somebody will buy this and copyright it and sell it for $3,000 one day. Maybe, man.
I guess good for them. I hope they don't go bankrupt one day.
You said something interesting because yesterday I interviewed this dude named Alan Resnick. He does a lot of little short films in Adult Swim. They put it on like 4 o'clock in the morning. Just very crazy individual. And you tweeted yesterday, or you tweeted one of these days. You said somebody said, "What do you wish you were better at?" And you said, "Getting a job at Adult Swim." And that was very interesting to me. And I was gonna ask, what would you do if, like, let's say an Adult Swim production person was watching this? What would you like pitch yourself doing?
It would either be helping writing cartoons or helping curate music in some type of capacity.
Mm.
I think I would much rather want to write cartoons and also write the cartoons with the sense of the scoring. So either work closely with someone who does the scoring of the cartoons or actually have a hand in the production, manage the production, curate, consult, whatever. But
Are you a big cartoon guy or something? Why cartoon specifically?
I mean, I came up on the same cartoons that everyone else came up on. I have my favorite 2 or 3 anime or whatever, but Adult Swim in general, like, sculpted a lot of our childhood. But I just feel like I think Adult Swim would be cool, and I would even want to get the job at Adult Swim, knowing how many talented artists I know that I could also kind of help open the door for.
Yeah.
I want a job at MTV. More
Mm.
important, I want a job at like VH1 or something. I want because then that whole mentality of like, oh yeah, writing a cartoon, writing stuff like that. I think that's more of something I want to do as personal projects in the long run.
Yeah.
But to be able to work for MTV and help do the show programming for them, which would also be in hand with music in general, because they have zero music coverage or television or anything of that nature, programming or whatever you want to call it. But I get it because of licensing and the shifting and the Viacom and the streaming and whatever. But I don't know. There's no excuse. They play ridiculousness 50 times a day. So I think that the very least I could do is have a job in there and, you know, shuffle some papers and knock on some doors.
Doc, there's such a. I just thought about this. You listen to you talk. There's such a lane missing for. I mean, everybody remember even a BT or MTV or VH1 used to play a whole bunch of music. Like, that was MTV. They played music videos all day. That's not really a thing. But there's such a missing lane for, I think, like the underground, like indie music, like for that to be on TV. I mean, a lot of people have cut the cord, say so, and like watch Netflix, but there's still people that watch TV. And just imagine if like they were flipping through channels and they found like some underground, like if MTV had like a 3 hour block where they just play underground music the whole 3 hours and whatnot, and they were playing You or Navy Blue or even underground trap art and stuff like that. I think that'd be like a cool thing.
That's yeah, because it's not even like, oh, it's just, you know, the people in the underground that rap over samples. Like, no, there's so many genres.
Yeah.
There could be music programming that's attractive to high schoolers and middle schoolers and college students and whatever. That, you know, I feel like there's a lot of good artists that just set a good example, both creatively and just kind of like, you know, as being a stand-up civilian. You know, there's a lot of benevolent material that the major networks could get behind, but I don't know. Apparently, that's high risk. So, I think that there's a lot of, you know, like you said, there's a lane missing. There's a lot of structure that could be. It wouldn't even be a huge compromise for major networks to adapt and have an ear to things and, like, you know, slice a small piece of the budget to have someone stream something with the MTV logo on it and like make MTV cool again. I don't know.
Like you said, it's a whole bunch of reruns. It's not a lot of original, like current programming. You know what I'm saying? So like, why? What are you losing? You know? So
that's how I feel. You know, and I used to think like, oh, because of like the logo branding and people smoke weed in the videos, and that. But then it's like I'm watching Friday and they don't blur out the blunts anymore, and it was on like MTV, and I'm like, man, there's no more excuses. Like, we gotta figure something out. Like. There's so many videos that I've been seeing for years that I'm like, this should be on MTV Jams. I would be 15 waking up and seeing this, and this looks beautiful. Like, why is it only on YouTube? Like, why are we only subjected to Instagram and Twitter and all these things? Oh well.
MTV Jams had a run back in like a long time ago. They were playing like a whole bunch of cool shit.
The guy that was programming the blocks would be on the Twitter. Like,
really,
it was the MTV Jams Twitter, and he tweeted like a person. But he would say like, "Hey, I'm doing a Dilla block or something," and it'll just be like, "Hey, Dilla produced things," or he would be like, "Yeah, we're doing the Pharrell block at this time." Because sometimes I remember watching it and being like, "Wait a second, this has been an hour of like, Timbaland produced stuff, or this has all been like Neptune's joints." And then I remember when Twitter became a thing, the guy would be tweeting and he'd be asking people like, "Yo, what y'all want for like a block? Give me ideas, whatever."
So he was like a cool dude. He was tapped in. It sounds like he was.
Yeah. Whoever that was doing it right, especially with Twitter being a brand new thing at the time. Like, he was definitely utilizing it properly.
Well, hey man, I don't want to keep it for too long. I think you just gave me my next interview. I think I'm gonna find who that human was so I can interview them because that sounds very interesting, to be honest.
That's a great idea. I'm very proud to even suggest something that would, you know.
Of course, man. I'll definitely send you the link to that whenever I find him because I gotta find him first. But any other last words you have to say for the people out there? Let it be known.
Shit, I don't know. Wash your vegetables and wash your hands.
Hey man, we'll leave it like that. Until next time, everybody. I say what I mean what I say. Haters are gonna hate, players are gonna play, and you guys holler at your boy.